Hello, my name is Adolfo and this is Life of Adolfo. This video I'm making not only because I watch other bloggers from the Philippines, Thailand, and other countries, but I also encounter myself saying the same thing. And that is that we as Americans like to say the reason we left the U.S. is because we cannot afford it. Now, is that true? And on my honest opinion, I believe only 1 out of 10 individuals that say that actually means it. The other 9 out of 10, they say it, but they don't really mean it. And what am I trying to say? There's a few reasons why they say it or why we say it. And I'm going to go one by one. But like I said, for some people, they actually cannot afford it. But that's a very limited amount of the people saying they cannot. Out of the individuals that say they cannot, but they could, we'll say that here in the Philippines, because I'm here in the Philippines in Cebu, there's a lot of traffic, by the way. And I got to slow down. I'm walking with the baby. There's no sidewalk. And there's a vehicle trying to come out. There's no rounded mirror on one side so you can see if I'm trying to move or not. And I'm not sure if he's just going to move fast, exit fast out of the complex that he's staying in. Well, he already passed by. But one of the reasons why we say it or individuals say it is that we are trying to blend in. We're trying not to show how much we have. That's the first reason. The second, if we find someone, and especially here in the Philippines, I know that a lot of YouTubers say that feed the family or the family is going to ask for money. And that's why you're trying to also not say as much on how much income you make. Those are two of the main reasons why people say it. Even though they do have enough. The second reason is because I have an umbrella with the baby and it's already half broken. And I'm trying to get through this sidewalk that I finally got into to try to cross. But the second reason is because in the United States, we or the individual saying, because I saw someone get an interview and he said, I live in so-and-so city. So-and-so city is expensive. He's trying to compare an expensive city compared to here, Cebu, Manila, Bangkok, wherever the case might be. The third, another reason is they're comparing living in a house to a condo now. There's nothing wrong with a condo. Since living in a condo, you're in the tourist bubble or in the safe area, what I like to call the safe area, near hospitals. You cannot compare a house to a condo. And another reason, like I mentioned, you're not trying to show how much you make, not only because outside, but also in the inner circle of wherever you're living. Second, you're trying to compare a big city or a house to a condo. Third, people in the U.S., they could actually move to a southern state. The United States is big. but they choose not to. Why? Because it's boring. They want to still live in the city. So they rather leave the U.S. than go to one of these southern states. And finally, hold on, I'm trying to cross. And finally, another big reason why they say they cannot afford it is because they retire. You retire, you get a cut. You take a pay cut. When you take that pay cut, you either work to make up that money out of the pay cut, or you have to sell your house, or whatever the case might be. Now, why am I saying all this? Like I said, I'm not trying to bash other people. I sold my house. I could still afford it, but I will not be, I won't be living the way I used to, because I retired. I took a pay cut. I could work and still live the way I used to live, but that's 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours of my life sitting somewhere working. And I'd rather not do that. I don't want to be wasting 8, 9, 10 hours. That's another reason why individuals say they cannot afford it. They'd rather stay retired. If you look at the people that go to these countries, like I said, I'm in Cebu, Philippines, you're going to see they're retired. They're already getting that green. That green means US dollars. They're already getting that. Yes, they cannot afford it in the US if they decide to retire and not work. But they could still work, but they don't want to, just like me. But, or else, look at X amount of individuals, we'll say YouTube, that says they cannot afford it. And next thing you know, they go back to the U.S. married. That means that you got to feed an extra mouth. If you have a kid, that's an extra one. That means that they could afford it, but they chose not to because they wanted an easy life. Just like me, I want an easy life. I don't feel like working until I'm 65. And some of these individuals here are prior military, just like me, retire early. So that's the honest truth on my view. Like I said, 1 out of 10 people actually really can afford it, but the other 9, they could, but that means that they either got to work or they need to do a lot of cutbacks when they're in the U.S. Because in the U.S., everything, how can I say this? Is everything more expensive in the U.S.? The main principle of expense is the mortgage. Even right now, I'm paying a lot here on my mortgage. It's still under from what I used to pay in the U.S. And I didn't used to pay a lot because I had a good interest rate percentage. I already had, I believe, like 8, 9 years with the house. So every time the house increased, I stayed at the same level. If I go back, my house is almost triple. That means that it'll be harder for me to be able to afford living the way I used to, or be able to afford it. But if I work, I could afford living in the U.S. Hopefully that makes sense. And that's what I think most of these expats are trying to say, that they cannot afford it. What they're trying to say is, I don't want to work to afford it. That's what they're saying. Anyways, have a good day. This is just my 2 cents on it. I'm not trying to go against other expats, but that's the truth. I'm team expat anyway, so I cannot go against them. Ooh. This lady pulled a string, a cable from the top. I thought she was gonna flip with the motorcycle. Anyway, have a good day. That's all I got. Oh, that's the second one. I gotta move back because I have the baby. I'm trying to cross the street.